Welcome to Without Bias.
Apia, the go-to insurance for retirees. Call 135050. Get set, go. Local legends want it. A bowls green is just up the road. Search Bowls Club near me.
Yes, indeed. Very good evening to you. Welcome to Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN, where we delve into the wonderful world that is lawn bowls. Big show tonight. Chris Flavel is going to join us, Para-Jackaroo, Comm Games silver medalist. Looking forward to having a chat to him. But we always are rapt to be able to catch up with this man, especially given that he's no longer in the top coaching job with the Jackaroos, but he's certainly paved the way for the success that they're experiencing and will experience for a long time, all thanks to Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted, search Bowls clubs near me, and for Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. The former Jackaroos coach, Steve Glasson, is our first guest tonight. Steve, hello, mate.
Hey, Sam. Thanks very much, mate. What an intro. I'm very humbled. Thank you. Great to be on the show, and you guys are doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. From a man that did a brilliant job in all facets of everything that you've done in your time with lawn bowls, and I'll take that compliment on board and pass it on to the people that deserve it, even more so those at Bowls Australia. Hey, before we get to the reason why you're on, I'd love to get your thoughts on the Jackaroos' performance at the Comm Games.
Thank goodness it's finished. Thank goodness it's finished because the sleepless nights, it was killing me. I was up. I was excited. I was up and about. The night that the girls won the pairs, which, I mean, they've all done, and I need to say this, they've all done incredibly well. But the night the girls won the pairs, I was actually at a bit of a dinner party, and some of the people at the big round table weren't actually bowlers. And I've taken my iPad so I can watch, keep one eye on the final and hopefully half an ear in the conversation around the dinner. And it came down to that last end and everything stopped. We're at a friend's house and they all gathered around the iPad to watch and they went nuts when Els ripped that bowl out to win the Comm Games medal. And they weren't even bowlers, some of them. They just went absolutely nuts. So I think that epitomised the sense and the feeling throughout the whole of Australia to see that happen, and what an exciting finish in that particular game alone. But not to take away from all the others too, it was all just utterly sensational.
So speaking of the women's pairs, how were you when Ellen Ryan was about to send down that final bowl?
Yeah, it's fair to say I was a bit nervous, I reckon. I know Els very well, so I was sort of watching her face closely just to see if I could read anything or, and I've since spoke to her about it afterwards, and what she was thinking and all that sort of thing. And I probably misread it, it's fair to say. She I didn't think she looked nervous or anything like that, but I just thought she was sort of coming to grips with what hand she was going to play and sort of had that part right, I guess. But she had total belief in herself, which was excellent. And why wouldn't she? She's won a singles gold medal leading into that and in the pairs final. But no, she was cool and calm and collected, and she had her able right-hand man, so to speak, and Christina down the other end. Who better than a best mate? So, it's you could make a movie, couldn't you? You could literally make a movie out of this because it's that good. These two have been going around for a long, long time together. They're best mates. They were kissing Ellen's singles gold medal throughout the pairs. In the second week of competition there every night before they went to bed. It was just meant to be. I mean, it was just fantastic. And, credit to the England girls as well in that final. They were extraordinarily good too. But, Els played the big one when it counted and well set up by Christina. So it was a joyous occasion for bowls, both, for Australia in Birmingham and, of course, here back home.
You must have been incredibly proud of the team, though. You know them all so well. You handed the baton over to Gary Willis and his assistant Karen Murphy, who've just done a tremendous job in picking up that mantle and running with it. But you're still so attached to the Jackaroo squad. You must have just been over the moon for all of them.
Absolutely. I spent some quality time with Gary Willis last Sunday morning in the zone pairs, where he stitched me up in the zone pairs. Thanks very much, Gaz. But yeah, look, it's just tremendous, and there's been a lot of years go into this, and they've got a wonderful team, and led by Gary, and he's already done a fabulous job, but he's going to continue to do that. There's no greater experience than Karen Murphy, and then you incorporate, the selectors behind the scenes, Therese Hastings, David Stockham, a wealth of experience there. We sort of incorporated Andy Thompson from England into the behind the scenes coaching team. Ellen Faulkner came on board, And there's another lady I'd like to mention called Leah Lazaro, who doesn't get much kudos, but Leah was a team manager over there, and Leah is here, there, and everywhere, non-stop. And Leah deserves just as many accolades as the rest of the staff. And then, of course, you got the players that buy into this attitude and this culture, and not only service it, but they drive it as well. And I think that's an exceptional thing to do. And it's not always easy. It sounds easy in theory, but full credit to all these guys. And as I say, I couldn't have been happier for them. Delighted, and I hope this is the start of the hoodoo's broken in the UK as far as Commonwealth Games are concerned now. And I hope this moment resonates with athletes to come, and we see a lot more gold medals in the Northern Hemisphere, etc., etc.
Steve Glasson, our first guest on Without Bias, brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia and local legends wanted at Bowls Australia. Bowls Green is just up the road. Search Bowls Clubs near me. Now, the reason why you are with us, Steve, it's great to catch up with you, of course, as always, but the City of Dubbo International Fours event, which is coming up November 3rd to 5th. Tell us a little bit about this tournament, please.
The richest fours event in the world, and isn't it wonderful that a regional town, I call it a town, it's probably a city, Dubbo, the City of Dubbo, but it's tremendous. The West Dubbo Bowling Club is a world-class venue in itself. Unfortunately, they were shattered last year when the inaugural event couldn't take place due to COVID restrictions, blah, blah, blah. But it's on this year, as you say, the second to the fourth, the third. Oh God,
third to the fifth.
I'm losing it. But thanks, Sam. So but look, they've got a field to die for. We're not only talking about internationals coming in and jackaroos and gold medalist jackaroos, etc., but there's also this local flavour of some country teams involved. It's open gender. We'll see some future stars involved. So it's a really great showcase of the sport. At an extremely high level of prize money. I mean, $100,000 is crazy. So thanks to all those. And, of course, we're involved from a BCIB perspective as a part sponsor as well. So very exciting. But it will also showcase the club and the City of Dubbo, which I think is excellent. And there's so much accommodation there. There's so many things to do there. There's so much accommodation. And, of course, the club's going to keep entertainment going, not only whilst the players are entertaining everyone on the green, but off the green as well, with a number of activities over the different nights. So it's going to be just a really great tournament, a great atmosphere, and I encourage anyone that can get there to at least take in and meet their favourite players. Come up and say g'day, because that will be that opportunity. But just enjoy the event for what it is, and of course, being an inaugural event, it's exciting and everyone's up and about for it. So we're very much looking forward to it. Just
explain the three different awards, Steve: the Cup, the Shield, and the Plate. What does each of those represent, and who wins them?
Yeah, so after 2 days of play, you basically get ranked, and accordingly, as per your ranking, you'll go into each of those three fields and be eligible for further prize money and winning. So I guess it's all about rankings and how you finish over those first two qualifying days to go into the final day and play in the respective, so obviously the Cup's the highest one and so on, and the prize money will be shared around, throughout those three last day categories or disciplines. So everyone's a chance of winning money. It's not just those that finish in the upper echelon in the first 2 days. Everyone's got a crack at some decent cash as well, so they can recoup their prize or their entry fees. They can pay for the weekend and still make some money out of it as well, whilst enjoying the event for what it is.
You mentioned that your mob, BCIB, a major partner of the event. What role will they be playing as it rolls out the tournament?
Yeah, so I think we've played a role already in helping, in a small way, I guess, help the club and give some advice here and there. I mean, the club's done an exceptional job under Anthony Brown and Tony Spears, the president. They've done awesome, and their committees. But certainly Karen Murphy, our BCIB ambassador, is playing with Tony, the president. He's done well there. He's pulled the most iconic player of all time into his team, and that's the joys of being president, I guess. He's done very well there. And yours truly will be there. I'm not actually playing, but I'll be doing some emceeing and floating around, just being a nuisance in general. So we'll certainly have exposure there through, Karen and myself at the very least, and just be there to, again, enjoy and try and contribute to the weekend as best as possible.
It's going to be phenomenal. Local players, emerging Jackaroos, established Jackaroos. You've mentioned gold medalists as well. So it is a phenomenal field that's been assembled. Club Dubbo must be jumping out of their skin, and the town as well, in anticipation of what's to come November 3rd to the 5th. Where can people go to get a bit more information, Steve?
So if you go to West Dubbo Men's Bowls Club Facebook site, that's probably the best one to go to. There'll be updates there. There's team announcements, sort of, I suppose, featuring, which teams have entered and a little bit about each of the teams. Whilst the event's on, there'll be updates on scores and performances and all sorts of things. Actually, our very own Jackaroos, Kelsey Cottrell, sort of running that for us. So good on Kelso for doing that. She's a guru at that sort of stuff.
She's a star. Yep.
So the West Dubbo Men's... Yeah, so the West Dubbo Men's Bowling Club Facebook site, that's the first place to go to keep up with the latest and greatest for sure.
Steve, it's always great catching up with you. I really appreciate you making time for us. Good luck with the City of Dubbo International Fours event, and I'm sure we'll speak to you either before, during or after, mate.
Terrific. Thanks very much. I really appreciate the opportunity, and keep up the great work, you guys, and see everybody else on the greens. Steve
Glasson, former Jackaroos coach, our first guest on Without Bias this evening. Local Legends wanted a bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me. And for Apia, the go-to insurance for retirees. Call 1350 Get Set Go. When we come back, Chris Flavel, Para Jackaroo Comm Games silver medalist, will be our next guest on Without Bias.
This is Without Bias.
Apia, the go-to insurance for retirees. Call 1350 Get Set Go. Local Legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls club near me.
Great to have your company on Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN. If you missed our chat with former Jackaroos coach Steve Glasson, sen.com.au, go to the Without Bias page. You can always catch up on the Without Bias podcast page for Bowls Australia. Local Legends wanted, search bowls clubs near me. And we do it all for Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Each week we have a Jackaroos catch-up, all thanks to Right at Home, the official naming rights partner of the Jackaroos. And it is an absolute thrill to be joined by Comm Games silver medalist, Para Jackaroo Chris Flavel's been good enough to jump on. Chris, hello, mate.
There you go, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure's all ours. Congratulations on your silver medal in Birmingham. It was the most successful international Comm Games for the Jackaroos, second most successful in Comm Games history for us, and your silver medal plays a big part in that. Has it sunk in yet?
I don't know if it'll fully sink in. There's days where you think about, that's what I've done, and you reflect on it, but then it's a bit dreamlike in that respect as well. But I'm back to reality a little bit, back to work, so it's getting there. But there's days where you just reflect on and go, did that really happen? So it's a bit day by day at the moment.
It's a common question that we ask, but I'm always fascinated to know because I think it's important for people to realise just how big a mountain it was to climb for Australia to have that success, given just how different the greens in the Northern Hemisphere are to the Southern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere greens that you bowl on day in, day out, week in, week out, so much faster than the Northern Hemisphere, which are so slow in the way that they roll out. So how were you able to adapt?
For me, it's just putting a lot of time in on slowish conditions. I was fortunate enough that we had a bit of a decommission or a out of action green at the home club that I spent a fair bit of time on. I got a few strange looks from the locals, but it just helped me hone my get into that up and through and just getting the action sorted out to get ready for the slow greens. But then the tour in May also took a lot of learnings out of that on where we need, where I needed to focus on and readiness once, got the nod to get, selected to go to the Comm Games. And then, the surface at Mount Tambourine, which was prepared, that all played its part. But to me, I suppose I was fortunate enough that I once Pennants finished here in March for us, I basically put my sole focus on that slow style of play, slow conditions. So I just, full on slow decks to Comm Games pretty much.
I reckon it's a great endorsement of you yourself to how you have looked to try and find the extra edge. And how Bowls Australia have done it as well. What they did for Mount Tamborine and then the tour over there in May. No stone was left unturned, both from you personally and as a collective. It is, I suppose, a great message to anybody in any sport. If you're looking to achieve the most you possibly can, sometimes you need to give and go the extra mile as often and as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, well, the old adage, you get out what you put in, basically. So, the Comm Games for us only comes around every 4 years, and it's the pinnacle of our sport. So, you never know when that opportunity is going to come again. And for me, I was in the hunt for 2018 and didn't quite get the nod that time around. So I kind of know what it's like not to get there. So, it basically laser focused my time on the green to really make sure it happened, and obviously got the rewards for all that hard work.
Your Para Pairs teammate, Damien Delgado, he had a great games. You two seemed to gel so well. How important is that relationship to what you're doing, and how was that relationship able to blossom in the manner that it did?
It's pretty essential when you probably get to that level of competition that, you need to be trusting the person down there, especially for us playing pairs. You also, you need to be knowing, you need to be able to anticipate what each person does, and there's no surprises. But, fortunately for us, I've known him a little bit through the disability bowls scene, but, never, to a great extent. But, through the tour in May in the UK, we really got to know each other, and it just seemed to be clicked fairly easily. And I suppose when you're away in a foreign country, for 2 weeks you're around each other 24/7, it kind of happens naturally. But it just when we were playing together, it just seemed very natural, and it was like we've known each other for a while. So it just really just clicked. Is the only way I've got to describe it.
The rapport and the camaraderie has been spoken about a lot. That the Jackaroos side and the team within the team, obviously, of the broader Commonwealth Games team, but it's been well spoken about, and just how invested in each other's performances everybody was. When we were speaking last week about the looking up in the stands and seeing teammates who might have just been knocked out but still want to, rather than go home and commiserate back at the village, they're like, no, we've still got to support our other teammates and cheer them on. How important was that, and how did that feel to be a part of that environment?
Oh, the word we use is family, and it really feels like a family. You feel connected and bonded for the whole experience. But fortunately for me and Damo, we had a bit of a dress rehearsal watching the men's triples, which played their finals match before we did. So we got to go in the stands and support them, and we could really feel the energy from the rest of the team around us. And then when we got on the greens ourselves, while you're over there in unfamiliar surroundings in a foreign country where you're not the home team, to have that little patch of gold in the stands to look at and feel the energy for, it's just vital. It's to perform at your best, especially as I said overseas.
Yeah, the Jackaroos culture, we've spoken about a lot, but it certainly seems to every person that was involved that it made the experience so much more special than even just the winning the medal itself. And would you feel the same thing? I mean, you take a medal away from this, but do you take just something more?
Yeah, well, I've taken away friendships out of this, and I've probably met a lot of people in the sport that I probably not necessarily have met through the Jackaroos experience, and with the para sports being part of that. But when you're away on tour for what that ended up being just on a month, you really get to know people quite intimately, and you get struck. You find friendships where you didn't think they were, just through conversations and things like that. But yeah, it's just that collective drive that everyone's in it together, and everyone's trying to achieve success, and you can't achieve it by yourself. You've got to achieve it together. So, just to have that backing of everyone behind you just helps you push that much harder.
Since you've been home, have you been pulled from pillar to post, and how many people have hit you up wanting to see the medal up close?
That's a good one. Like obviously the first couple of weeks when you're home, it's you miss the popular for a little bit. Going back to the bowling club and sharing it with the members who obviously followed my journey fairly closely. That was really exciting, and sharing it with obviously family members that didn't get to go over. I was fortunate enough to have mum and dad over there. But yeah, I get more for seeing the look at them, what it means to them when I show it to them. So, but yeah, getting pillared and post pulled in this direction, that direction, like I've got this extra bit of an accessory that sometimes I'm going to think, well, do I need to bring that with me if someone wants to see me or wants to see it? It's a little bit. I need a handbag. I need to do something like that to keep it in. But a little bit back to reality now, back to work. So I think the sparkles died down a little bit. But yeah, it was fun beat while it lasted.
Well, I think anyone listening would be incredibly jealous that, when I leave the house, I'm more wallet, keys, phone. But Chris Flavel, your wallet, keys, phone, Comm Games silver medal. Mate, congratulations. Good luck with what's to come for you in what's ahead for you in your bowls over the next few months and moving forward. Thanks so much for giving us some time on Without Bias.
No worries, it's been a pleasure.
Chris Flavel, a silver medalist at the Birmingham Comm Games, Parajackaroo as well. And that is it for us for another week of Without Bias. If you missed anything, sen.com.au. It's all up there on the podcast page. It's all for Bowls Australia. Local Legends Wanted. A Bowls Green is just up the road. Search Bowls Clubs near me. And for APIA, the go-to insurance for retirees, call 1350 50 Get Set Go. Our Jackaroos chat's always for right at home. The right care right at home. Until next week, get out there, find your local bowls clubs, go and have a roll. You'll be happy and thankful that you did. This is Without Bias. We'll speak to you same time next week.